I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
This ain't a battle, baby, it's a walk by. Showering verbal rounds on those tiny clowns and laughing as they cry. I'm no longer taking what they're giving, cause they'll leave press on life, baby, that just ain't worth living. We aren't gaining, we're at war, with points of order worth fighting for. Gaining inches in this battle of attrition, as case by case we pass the ammunition. Hope that umbrella guy back with this communion. Mic check, mic wreck, this audible reunion. Syllable call-outs wrapped up in this song. Nuclear fallout after dropping this mic bomb. We're not snatching chains, baby, now we're snatching souls. They crossed this verbal bridge, now they're paying my tolls. The media's flatline, there's no more resolutions. No forgive and forget, this pope ain't granting absolution. It's that umbrella guy pointing at the wrecked, laughing in their face as they keep demanding we respect. Our so-called social betters erasing all your gains. Listen and believe, wants to keep us in chains. It's that umbrella guy, declaring war on all the haters, dropping meteors on those dinosaurs, and bombing all the craters. A life in chains isn't worth living, and hope that umbrella guy ain't about forgetting about you who wanted to erase the deception and the lies. The wolves in disguise, now you're back to the drive-thru. But you already knew that like your mic skills, your time was limited. Now you're bankrupt, screeching is prohibited. So can I get that combo meal with a side of verbal fry? Because tonight, baby, we're blasting the mic with the ice down walk by. Supersizing the rage from this platinum grill. Feasting on our anger, nah, this ain't a happy meal. Yeah, tonight's forecast isn't rain clouds, it's the rain of hope. Umbrella guy, the first mic wrecking away the remnants of the worst. What's happening? This ain't a mystery. We're relegating you to the dustbin of history. And you're done, and I'm out. I'm dustbin of history. And you're done, and I'm out.
All right, what's up, folks? Welcome to a Sunday edition of... Man, these people are so fucking crazy. I mean, I swear to God. Over the last few days, we have had multiple Medium articles drop. We have had Laura Owens, allegedly, I'm going to use the word allegedly, okay? And the reason I'm going to do this is because I cannot prove definitively that an account is her on Twitter, but it damn well seems like it's her on Twitter. So it looks like she's popped into Twitter to argue about every damn thread that comes up about her. She struck channels. Actually, I got even more information about that channel strike stuff, by the way. And I mean, it is absolutely mental. And of course, YouTube doesn't give a damn. Like I said, the thing that needs to happen with them, they're going to have to make contact with a lawyer out there. If there is a lawyer out there that they can use for their information to fight this stuff, that's what they need to do. Because otherwise... she's going to use that information. She's going to use their their address and everything else to harass them. God knows what might happen. So the people that have been struck, and I'm looking at the strike, by the way, and I noticed they have 2 strikes. It looks like Laura struck that channel twice. So I was taking it as they were struck once, but reading what's there, it looks like they were struck for 2 different things, which I'll show you in just a second. 2. Holy God, man. So much mess. But this is a person that, again, I mean, they're begging to be sued. And I hope to fuck somebody sues them. I do. I hope for it. Because the stuff they're pulling doesn't work. I mean, it's been mental, though. Watching, I mean, this account that claims to be, again, this is, I can't prove this is her, you know, like I said. But it's really wild when I see an account pop up on Twitter arguing everything that she just put in Medium. I mean, these crazy Medium articles, too. Like, she's putting them up, deleting them, you know, but you can see all this. All this stuff where she's arguing on these threads, like, coming into them. She's deleting some of her messages, it looks like, too. I mean, look at that, though. I mean, she's going through, like I said, this Twitter pops up and starts just arguing with all these folks. And it very much strikes me as, if that's not Laura Owens, it's surprising. She can clarify that. But then again, and then we have David Gingras telling us, oh, she can't, Arizona has no right to do anything with her. I mean, look at this shit. Did you know the state of Arizona has no power to prosecute alleged crimes committed outside of Arizona? Some people just ignore laws they don't like. But this one is clear and easy to understand. It's very well settled. Really, like all those other laws that were going to allow you to win a case, man, right? I mean, they're doing themselves no favors. None whatsoever. Now, let me show you something real quick. I had to redact some stuff off of this because it had email addresses and more. Let me make sure it doesn't have anything on that. But I want to show you the... so I talked about the last video I discussed, copyright striking. Going after horse videos, right? Horse videos that did not belong to her, by the way. They belong to Mike Marancini. So I asked Schnitzel Ninja to send me over the claims because I wanted to see what they said. I wanted to see what was said on there. And if you notice, interestingly, the title of the video, now they have 2 strikes on the account. Now, I'll need to clarify this with them if this is not. But they usually, when the title of the video, if they got hit by something else, that's fine. But it looks like they tried to strike them twice. Now, I imagine with this, it looks like this is the same. See, when they tag it in, look at this. They tag it into different watch links. Now, you can get struck. You can get struck by the same video sometimes twice where people are trying to do some erroneous bullshit. So, like I said, I'm going to have to follow up and see exactly why there are 2 strikes. But they tried to hit them twice. I mean, if you look at it like video title, they reported it multiple times. One of them was Laura Owens' mother. One of them was Laura Owens. And it's fascinating because if you look at the content used here, the description, it says, my daughter fell off. These videos were sent to her ex-boyfriend, who she has a restraining order against, and has posted them here to embarrass her. Fascinating. Fascinating that they're trying to scrub material offline there. And like I said, Schnitzel Ninja, in order to fight this, has to put the real information. I went off on this. I'm not going to go fucking mad on this, but this really annoys me. Because in order to fight this, in the best case scenario, anytime. You could be putting your information into anyone's hands. Worst case scenario right now, though, you know who they're putting this information into their hands. They don't need this. This person is documented. They are out there in the weeds. They are way past the weeds. You know, they're out in the forest in some unknown grotto, fucking sipping tea with a Mad Hatter. I mean, they're fucking nuts. This person is not well. They've called the police on other people. You've seen the emails that they've, or the messages they've sent to folks. Well, again, the court case, we saw multiple people, multiple pregnancies that don't look very real with not so twins. I mean, again, would you want your number falling into their hands? So yeah, what they need, there has to be a lawyer out there. A law tuber is somebody that can help. So I'll hit up a few people myself, but I think other people should too. Just because they need an if you have a lawyer, quote unquote, representing, you can switch representation later. The other thing Snitzel Ninja needs to remember in this, when you fight, you're telling that person that you're willing to go to court with them to fight over this. You're willing to fight their claims. And them being crazy and litigious, they're basically using the same tactics that they've used all along. They're using financial bullying. They're using platform rules. They're using potentially the judicial system or law enforcement. I mean, it's wild. You know, on top of this, we have had multiple. Anytime you see these, by the way, fall in, please archive them because, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. We have had multiple articles fall in. I'm pulling them all up in a row, so that's what's taking me a second. Just give me 1 minute here. Oh, there's so many. It's so crazy, too. She's put up okay, so she put up one. I'm not going to pull up the picture on it right off the top, but it was called "Don't Tell Me I Wasn't Abused. You Weren't There." So that's taking aim at one of the men that was there. There was a funny little dilly called "Dear JFC Cult, let's talk about your quote-unquote too honest leader." There was that one. Of course, you've seen other ones as well. And what's fascinating about this, truly fascinating, is Medium. Medium has been taking down people's responses to this stuff. Now, different people have written asking Medium what's going on, you know? Like this person says, you know, I emailed legal department directly. And in her You Weren't There article, she comes after me directly by name, including one of my posts where I've asked Tony West here, chief legal counsel at Uber, to re-examine her case, RE epilepsy. Why is that allowed? Now, you see, Medium, what's fascinating is Medium has been, like I say, they've been taking down articles while leaving up her stuff. They've been allowing her to take shots at anyone. Any reply talking about that, yeah, you could have some real problems. And Medium says they don't edit, they don't remove stories. And yet people who have been responding to this are reporting that their fucking articles are being taken down. Medium needs to be put the fuck on blast over and over again, because at the end of the day, they don't stand with male survivors. They think that they can get away with this shit. They can sit in the background and be like, we're not doing it. Yeah, they're just disappearing on their own, right? They're eaten by the internet Pac-Man, right? Is that what we're talking about? Because I don't think that exists. I think what you're doing is you're allowing somebody that has lost in court going after people to take aim at the people they went to court with. Nobody can reply to this stuff correctly. And it's a bunch of bullshit. And they need to be put on blast for it. I mean, I'm like, do I really need to dedicate a week of my life to calling out Medium to the point that maybe we can get them trending? Do we really need to go that route, Medium? Because there's a lot of people with a lot of big channels, and yeah, they could do that. We need to go on every guest spot you can and be like, hey, Medium, what the fuck are you doing? Because we can do that. We can roll that way. And I'm feeling kind of motivated right now because this kind of stuff really irritates me. We're not doing it. I mean, you'd have to be fucking stupid and blind not to notice what they're doing. I take that back, even if you are blind out there, and props to you if you are. You know, love you, don't care on that. But they think we're blind in the terms of we can't recognize there. Because a blind person would know what's going on with these fuckers. Fucking assholes, man. This stuff irritates me so much. I mean, some of these sites, all these sites, they're like, we're an open publishing platform. You know, they use all of this stuff, pretending that they allow free discourse to go on. Meanwhile, of course, they're not going to do that. They won't allow open-ended discourse. Because if it did, you might actually figure out some of the crazy stuff that's been going on in the world. I'm going to focus on one of these. I'm not reading 3 of these tonight, okay? I'm going to read one of these. I'm going to read the Dear JFC Cult. Some of the other ones are really long. I wanted to go through the When Judges Play Doctor. That was my plan for the day, but plans change, I suppose. Every day, this person is so crazy. You got to call this stuff out. What's up, Laura Owens, by the way? Slap that like button like it's on an Iceland vacation with you. Indeed. Slap that like button, baby. Fallen Hero, thank you for the gifted membership. I'm just hitting these right off the bat. I want to see if there's questions in here or anything else as they come up, you know. Cherry Pow Pow, thank you, welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs. By the way, appreciate you. Appreciate you too, Fallen Hero. Thank you. Wendy A, thanks for the 2. I found it on a small local channel. Yeah, there's going to be all kinds of... oh, by the way, I want to show you the articles too in just a second. You know, I'm going to show that too. I'm glad you mentioned local channels. Stick Brick Paint, thanks for the 10 there. Rah thought it was hilarious when she found out. I thought a platinum grill was something you cook burgers on. I've never really been down with the kids. That's what my kids thought, actually. My oldest daughter one time came up to me, you know, because I joke about getting a platinum grill all the time. And my daughter was like, Dad, why do you want to cook out on a platinum grill? I was like, do what now? She's like, you're always talking about a platinum grill. Why do you want to cook out on a platinum grill? I was like, yeah, that's not what I mean, baby. I showed her and she was like, you would look ridiculous with that. I was like, that's the whole point. It's beautiful. They say be my optimal self. Well, my optimal self has a platinum grill. I'm glad. I'll tell her about that. She'll think that's hilarious. And Wendy A, thanks for the 5. Agreed. The mess. And my daughter actually has had epilepsy since 8. And she's 27. Yeah, God, just so much of the stuff that's argued by it's infuriating. Okay, let me show you article wise. I'm gonna pull up something. All the articles have been dropping about her. A new one dropped from Fox. Whether you love or hate Fox, I don't care if you love or hate Fox, by the way. I realize when you bring up Fox or CNN or whomever, people, you know, depending on your political leanings and stuff, like people are like, who cares about them? You care about them because they reach their audiences. Now, I don't have any love for any of these places because they waited until it was safe. They let people like Dave Neal take the lumps when those so-called journalists weren't out there freaking doing anything about it. Having said that, I am glad to see some actual freaking articles. Give me a second. I'm pulling this up on Fox, man. It must be bad. It must be bad days for Fox because they got enough pop-ups on there. Lord, I thought my computer had like a computer. You know what? I don't like poking around in near Fox or any of these other places without virus protection on, because with all the pop-ups and stuff, it's like I got my computer just got a virtual SSD. It was like, I ain't loading that. I was like, fine, I'll put it on another freaking viewer. Oh my God. It must be bad for these folks in the mainstream these days. Because, I mean, it's like, yeah, you can look at the article after you look at 400 pop-ups. Like, keep it away from me, man. Get out the bear mace. I don't need that. But, having said all that, still, we do have them talking about it. And they're actually calling it a legal victory. Not like places like People that were like, oh, he just dropped it. It didn't fucking get dropped, morons. That's not what happened. Come on, People. I know you're People magazine. I know you don't research anything, but come on, like put a little time into it. But Fox actually talked about this to a degree. I mean, they put in a little bit of work, like when you look through it, but at the same time, you know, they always do the same copy and paste too. You know, they changed a few words to make it work a little bit. But at the same time, this is what disturbs me about any mainstream media. It doesn't matter what side of an aisle, social or political, they fall on most of the times. If you read the first People article, they use the same talking points. You notice, here's him when he gets his protective order, da-da-da-da-da. They don't do enough research. And I'm glad they cover, but man, they're supposed to be better than us. They tell us they're always better than me or a Megan Fox or I don't know if they've said that about a Dave Neal. They probably would. I'm sure that actually they did with the Depp thing. What am I saying? They're better than all of us, right? And yet they play it safe. They play it absolutely safe. They let this come in. They didn't talk about the case while it was going on. Why? Because they don't have the stones for it. Because they're afraid. You know? A life lived in fear is not worth living. You know? All they got to do is slap up. They don't mind. They don't mind saying that if it were like a political person, they'd be out there calling them a PDF file and everything else. I'm talking about both sides of them too. They'd be out there. They wouldn't have any problem talking about it. But when this poor guy out here and all these other men are being buried, what do they have to say? Cookie cutter bullshit. That's about it. But the Medium articles, I want to read this Fox article. I might read it another day when I'm so inclined, but I'm not inclined today. I actually don't like giving the mainstream prop either. You know, if I want to read an article about this, I'd read Megan Fox articles on this. If I really wanted to learn something. And I don't want to backpat lazy-ass journalists that do fuck all to protect victims. You know, they mime it. They pretend they do, but they do nothing about it. When there are actual stakes involved, they're like, oh, I'm getting nope out of that, you know? When it should be talked about. And they never tell you the consequences of it. They never tell you what really happened. They sugarcoat it enough. No love for them. So I go on a rant about I hate them. What's up, Chris? Thanks for two. Is prison the only remedy for this dingleberry? I don't think prison will stop this. Just to be frank, I think that there are more problems here. Again, I am not remote diagnosing. I've seen other people talk about that. I cannot diagnose this person. That is not in my purview. I can, however, say that anyone that is doing batshit crazy things like repeat A repeat fake for twins? Weaponizing the legal and the judicial system over and over again? I would say anybody that's doing that, prison might scare. Look, legal consequence. Having this referenced over to potential prosecution, it didn't slow Laura Owens down. It made her worse. If you can say if you can say that she's gotten worse, it made her worse. That's what all these Medium articles are. It's crazy. What's up, Life According to Martin? Thanks to do. Laura's definitely on the gifted program. Man, she's like, I got the most Christmas gifts. Dear JFC Cult. Dear JFC Cult. Let's talk about Honest Abe. Clayton. By the way, when these come up, she removes them really quickly. You know, shouldn't hit that post button. She needs representation too. Like you know, I don't want to take anything away from her, but my God, what kind of slack-jawed fucking yokel fucking lawyer do you have that's like, I would be in the sternest terms, shut your mouth. Don't talk. Don't say anything. Everything can and will be used against you. Everything. But, you know, I guess if they do that, then you don't get cut more paychecks when they have problems, right? But let's talk about Clayton. You, Channy, never lied to us. He's too honest. Meanwhile, because I've admitted to lying in the past, never about being pregnant, you invoke falsus in numa, falsus in omnibus. If I lied once, I must be lying about everything. That's actually not what people say. People said this wonderful thing, Laura, and you could clear this up in 1 fucking minute. Since you love to pay attention, since you have a Twitter and all these other accounts, I know you're out there, and you're probably listening, because I'm sure you can't help yourself. You put up the so-called fake name for Planned Parenthood. You put up their name where Clayton Echard's lawyers can find out those real items you say exist. Because otherwise, you're a fucking liar. You know what? I don't believe they exist. I'd say I'm calling you out, but a judge called you out. A judge put you on blast point blank. Echard's lawyers put you on blast. They said, prove it. Because you said you had the proof, but then you were like, you're willing to throw out every fucking email you've ever been involved in. You were willing to put out the mom doc. You say, hey, you know, for my medical records, I'm not willing to put out my medical records, but you put your fucking other records if you thought they were helpful, like mom doc. You put them in the trial. You just don't want to admit that you lied about the one thing there. And that's the one thing that would exonerate you if it was real. I don't believe that for a second, neither does anyone else. So yeah, if you lied to us about one strand of this, you lied to us about everything, because that one strand, it's not like pulling a string on a sweater. It's like ripping the fucking thing in half. It doesn't exist. My God. What's up? MS. I'll mess up your name there. My brain is not in the decipher mode. So, thanks for the 2. Proud to be a member of the JFC cult. Thank you. And Chris, thanks for the 2. LOL. I just say Dingleberry. Yeah, you did. You got me to say it. But you treat me like I'm Pinocchio, while conveniently ignoring that your saint hasn't exactly been a beacon of truth. Your saint. You know, Clayton doesn't claim to be a saint either. Clayton's like, I mean, he doesn't lie about, like, having sex with random women or any other, like, salacious deed. He lived it live on TV. So the man hasn't claimed to be a saint. What you claim, though, is that the man arped you and that he did all these monstrous things while your own words worked against you. It's crazy when your own words put you in the jackpot, right? Yeah, you don't hold him to the same standard. It continues because he's never lied, right? Wrong. So let's set the scene. Here, we are going to storytell, setting the scene. Imagine that we are building Lego blocks with Megan. Imagine the scene pouring through here. Imagine you're excited about diving into real estate investing. You've spent a year studying Pace Morby's methods, finally building up the confidence to invest. You reach out to an agency you find on Instagram that specializes in seller financings, not to work with any specific person, but because they understand your goals. Yeah. You don't hear back for a month. You still haven't found a realtor to do this with, and you're scrolling around for one. Then you see someone named Clayton Echard. Just some random dude, right? You're not going to look up his name and his freaking, his face. He's just some random guy out there. Here's the thing. Like, if I do any kind of business with somebody, I look up who they are. I'm sure most of you do too. If you're going to spend a bleeding fortune on something, you know, you're going to drop the numbers on the real estate that she looked at, by the way. 2 pieces, put them together, is over $1 million. You know, it's like 420 something million. 20 million thousand. I said 420 million. Man, that'd be the most expensive fucking house ever. Excuse profanity, by the way. I'm excitable today, so there will be a lot of F-bombing in it. I just looked at this stuff over the last 2 times I've streamed. It has irritated me. You know, because it's horrible enough what Clayton went through, and Mike Mancini went through, and Greg Gillespie went through, and that other guy who I'm going to stop using his name. I didn't really use his name. I used his first name, but I'm not even going to use his name since he didn't attach there. He didn't go through. We know his name, but I'm not going to use his name. It's bad enough all of those people ended up in a jackpot. But there are also so many other people that are not connected to that. You know, the last person, Clayton Echard, is a public figure. Her aiming at a public figure, that's crazy enough. But just aiming at random folks that talk about this stuff, trying to take them out of it, I mean, it irritates the shit out of me. She goes after the smallest channels and stuff. Again, I don't say that to be ugly about channels either. She just figures they'll fall silently. Like, if they come after me with a big wave of stuff, there'd be a lot of noise. There'd be a lot of noise regardless. And it would spread this case to other channels. And I think they know that. But they figure, this channel or that channel, they could take down easily. So, But, anyway. You find this guy no one's ever heard of named Clayton Echard. It doesn't say that. It says Clayton Echard is tagged with the company you reached out to a few weeks prior. You check out his LinkedIn and decide to message him to see if he can help. He writes back and says he can. Man. We had a long call, and Clayton seemed like the perfect fit for an agent. He grasped my investment goals, and I grasp his... Wait, no, it doesn't say that either. He grasped my investment goals, and I dreamed about grasping... It does not say that. And then the kind of properties that would turn into profitable short-term rentals. I trusted him to guide me through my first couple of purchases. I was excited, optimistic, and ready to conquer the world. Oh my God, I've been rewatching Game of Thrones. Because House of the Dragon's out. This has a point right here, okay? When I read that, Ready to Conquer the World, I just finished up most of season 1. And, Daenerys, she's going to have a baby. It's named, they call it the Stallion. That'll mount the world. And I don't know that when I thought of this, because of all the horses conquering the world, I was like, oh my God, it's the Stallion that wants to mount the world. The prophecy was wrong. It was wrong. Damn you, George R.R. Martin. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Oh, we can talk about House of the Dragon another day. It comes on tonight, by the way. Now imagine trusted him with $1.1 million in offers for 2 investment properties. Proof of funds? Check. Signed contracts? Check. The thrill and anticipation was real. She put this up here, by the way. This is all her stuff she's putting up to say. Here's the problem, though. Clayton ends up with somebody that, with all of this, we're just going to pretend like, why doesn't he follow up? Why did he tell her that he was, but he wasn't? He says he didn't think she was legit. Why would he think that, though? Would it be the 500 plus messages across 13 freaking phone numbers? Because I have to say, if I had a client come in and they acted like this, I damn well wouldn't work with them anymore. You would also want to placate them. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm handling that. Yeah, sure. Yep. I haven't heard anything back. Nope, nothing at all. I haven't heard anything. Because if you're like, hey, I'm going to hand you off to someone else, how do you think that would have gone in relation to everything else that was being discussed? Because I don't imagine it going too fucking well. So on the 24th, Clayton writes up offers on 2 properties, has me sign them. They're set to expire the next day. He assures me that everything's good to go. She gives herself away too. Like everybody's mentioned in letters where she's alleging that other people write them, but her sign off is always the same. Always the best, or all the best, all the best, all the best, all the best. So on the 25th, according to Clayton, to what Clayton made me sign. Did he make you sign it? Really? Did he actually make you sign it? I mean, that's an interesting choice of words. Considering, this is supposed to be somebody that goes through and, they meticulously select everything they're going to say. Made me sign. He didn't make you sign anything. You want a contract for something or an offer, you have to sign. The offer's officially expired. Meanwhile, he hasn't responded to my messages asking if they were accepted. So growing anxious, I emailed John, the agent for one of the sellers, to check. He says he never got an offer. Cue heart sinking. Cue the panic attack. She's so desperate to be the victim in this, is she not? We're talking about, again, a case where a judge just said that this person was a serial fabricator. Multiple cases of it. And the judge refers her to potential prosecution. She's desperate to flip that script and turn it into, what about Clayton? Look what he did. Look at him. He's a monster. And it's like, when you put everything into check, I hate to tell you, but if you're acting like this, I'd fucking want to ghost your ass too. Definitely. So on the 26th, I text Clayton, asking him to explain why John hadn't received the offer. Can you please explain what he's talking about? Look, she's got all these records too. Isn't it amazing? Again, anything that helps her, it's real. She has that on hand. But if it's anything that might work against her narrative, whether that's texts, supposed medical advice, emails, whatever, they're not real. They don't exist. It's fascinating stuff. But she messages, can you please explain what he's talking about? You never sent the offer. You said you did. No response. Frustrated and desperate on the 26th. I texted Clayton again. Clayton, if you can't answer me on address redacted, please connect me with a broker to ask him what happened, what the status is. Crickets. P.S. Remember when he said I refused to work with this broker? Who's Pinocchio now? Oh my God. Okay, worst case scenario off this. What is the worst case scenario with what Clayton? Let's take these two together. Let's say, I believe every single word she says. What would be the worst case scenario? That he's a shitty broker? That he didn't follow through? Are you telling me this is your answer to accusing a man of ARP? Having your lawyer bring up hypotheticals where multiple women who have never done this before, by the way, this is a hypothetical, but he put it into a motion before the court where hypothetical multiple women come forward and accuse him too. That outside of everything else. Again, the twinspiracy is bad enough, but the thing I really find myself focused on is that ARP claim. Because even the judge would have said, like, you think about this and what the judge said. This is horrifying when you think about it. The judge said, if that would have been her narrative from go, if she would have had police records, if she would have gone for some kind of medical test, that would have been a different story. So if she would have been a better liar, a better manipulator, then we'd still be dealing with the same person. We'd still be dealing with the same type of mess, but we'd be dealing with a totally different outcome, possibly. That's where I find my mind dwells on now, because of the what if. See, the what if for the twinspiracy, that can't go forward. The only what if that could have worked against Clayton in that was if he would have bought into the letter, her saying, oh, I'm safe to have relations with now because I'm pregnant. Don't you want to try out the place you never tried before? And he would have been like, yeah. That's the only way that would have really worked again, because sooner or later that has an expiration date on it. You know, sooner or later the twins are not going to arrive. That's going to have to go away. Now, she did use it for a protective order, which was gross. It was a gross miscarriage of justice. But the other part, again, if that would have went out to its ultimate conclusion, if people would have actually believed that, and people do believe that, by the way. They believe it very easily these days. We have a big case, we have a big claim, rather, that's going on around online, aimed at a YouTuber right now. No evidence on it, but the accusation alone, it's just like the million others we've seen. That could have destroyed them too. So, anyway, who's Pinocchio now? 26. I forwarded the email from John, the seller's agent, to Clayton writing, Clayton, connecting you with John with this. Can you please confirm that you saw this? We need to get moving on this, as I would like to proceed with the purchase. Silence. That's something you actually don't hear from this person. Silence. Imagine that was your money. Your new venture. No updates, no communication. No idea. If you just bought properties worth over $1 million, you'd be fine with this, right? Again, wants to be the victim. Just got handed over for potential prosecution and is still going after the very person they shouldn't be. They're writing medium blogs attacking them. Cue the JFC crew, furiously wrecking their brains, trying to come up with reasons why I was wrong and Clayton was right. Why is he wrong? I'm going to boil this down as simply as I can, because you're you're just unstable. You're unhinged. Holy shit. That doesn't mean you're a fanboy or a fangirl because you recognize that. I mean, like I said, I'm not Clayton Echard. I wouldn't know Clayton Echard from anyone else. He seems like, it's like many cases that I've talked about in the past. I didn't know who that person was. I went in, and I like that, to be honest, because I take no bias into looking over any of the items there. I don't know anything about them. So, any bias with, like Clayton talked about past. I don't have any bias because I don't know who he is. I didn't know that. But even if you did, when you look at this is so overwhelming. I can't find people that are backing this besides people that are paid or people that are related to Laura Owens. And even then, I don't truly know what the fuck they think. I just know, again, she has a lawyer, and her mother apparently is standing by a lot of that. But besides that, man, I'd like to find some real people that believe her. Just to see. I'm talking about not random accounts out there, because for all I know, they could be, well, you know who they could be. I'd like to see a real person telling me that. But if you were in my shoes, it says, and being honest, you'd be furious. You'd demand answers and accountability. You'd be 100% entitled to feel that way and escalate the situation. And you did. You did. But you know what? You've escalated every fucking dude that has ever said no to you, that we see in dating contracts, that has told you, I don't want to be the father of, of your tonsil pouch kids. I don't even know what the fuck to call it. The multiple twinspiracies. Every time we've seen anything, they've always escalated. So again, this isn't isolated. This isn't some randomized thing. And she has disposable income, like a lot of it too. Not for this, like a complaint is one thing. But I mean, people ask you, like, I've had some crazy stuff said about me. Just wild shit. People just make up weird shit about you. Why don't you sue them? Well, because you're going to spend a lot of money for nothing. Anybody that can go out and financially go after people, right or wrong, they probably have either a lot of backing or they have a lot of money. And her being able to do this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, that's some deep pocket shit. Now again, I'm not saying complaints to a board. They're just you can make a free complaint to a board, but the other stuff. But then again, under this is a woman telling me that she was going to spend $1 million on real estate. I mean, she has some money there, But after reviewing my complaint against Clayton, the Arizona Department of Real Estate concluded that his failure to submit offers was a violation of Article 11, professional conduct, blah, 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 blah. It's documented, it's real. And Clayton has the audacity to come on a major podcast that I wasn't serious about buying property. Come on, Clayton. You know better than that. You understand, Laura, why nobody would believe you, right? And even if you were very serious about buying property, you understand why no one, in the scheme of things, they would look at this and they'd be like, what the hell? What the hell indeed? Not long after I made the offers with him, I bought an investment home using, drum roll, please. Oh my God. Is she taking pointers from Gangress? Am I going to get a hashtag yikes in here? Oh my God. If one of those were to pop up in this, I'd probably fall in my seat laughing. I probably would. I wouldn't be able to contain myself. Drum roll, please. The very same seller financing methods I told him I wanted to use. Wow. I'm imagining this means cue in some more vocal fry. Wow. Wow. Guess I was serious all along. To wrap up the real estate saga, let's address the letter I sent to Clayton during our paternity case. Let's just ignore the whole thing about the paternity case. This is a letter I sent to him during all of the insanity. Please don't remember why we were in court, though, because that's probably not good. Here's an excerpt. In lieu of immediate litigation, I propose alternative resolution contingent upon your stipulation to dismiss blah, 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 Owens versus Echard forthwith, and to mutually agree to forbear from any future legal actions against each other in any claims. Look, she's trying to say, well, because of this, I was trying to reach out and I was just trying to make sure he could walk away from this because of the real estate thing. No, you're trying to get your ass out of the frying pan because you got caught. You got caught and you had done this so many freaking times that it is absolutely ridiculous. So to say this is in some good-spirited way of trying to seek resolution, really? Just like that $1.4 million drop a case or else? Was that in good spirit too? I swear, man. She wants you to catch the clap like this, right? Yeah, bravo. But to me, when I read this, the only clap I feel like I'm catching is a virtual STD. I swear, this stuff is so diseased as far as a talking point. This proposition is tendered in a spirit will dispute resolution and to mitigate further legal entanglements. This was a reasonable settlement offer, not extortion. I swear, guys, I wasn't trying to extort him and make him drop this case where I knew that I was in real trouble. No. That wasn't extortion whatsoever. Extortion, she says, is the practice of obtaining something through force or threats. Holy God, I've read your messages, lady. And those, I mean, I'm going to say the worst things that I've read as far as threats were the Greg Gillespie ones. They were just out and out. They just showed you what kind of person this was. The worst messages I read were to Mike Mancini because they were emotional extortion, emotional blackmail. Because it was a, if you don't then, tell her anything she wants to hear. Otherwise, she might do this horrible thing to herself. And with Clayton, I mean, when you read through some of the stuff that's there, holy God. I mean, it's just, like I said, anybody that looks at this, a lay person, you don't have to diagnose a person to know that this has some serious issues. Again, when a person decides that they want to secure someone for dating, instead of securing them through like charisma, just being an interesting person, whatever, instead of doing that, they tell you they're pregnant with twins and they'll get rid of the babies if you... It's not just sign a dating contract, by the way. It's that if you agree to a dating contract and you carry through with good faith. If you didn't, like with the Greg Gillespie stuff, she was saying that she was going to take him to court and to say that he essentially forced her into taking the pills to get rid of a child. And in doing that, she did it wrong, according to her, and it probably will cause deformities. And that's all your fault. It's like, holy God, man. I mean, that is some mind fuck right there. That is. False allegations are, and they're by themselves. But then when you get to this other crazy, whoo. But I was offering this settlement to avoid further legal conflict. Standard practice in legal disputes. Again, she's trying to make her legal argument out here to you and I. You know why she's doing this? Because she understands that, her lawyer understands this too. She's not in the court of law. She's also in the court of public opinion. She wanted to be in the court of public opinion. She asked for it, much like you would ask for a jury trial. You know, I want a jury of my peers to judge what I'm saying. So I'm going to approach tabloids like The Sun. I'm going to approach other outlets and more. I want them to do this. Now that she's got the attention, she doesn't like it. That's why she calls you a JFC cult. That's why she's going after Clayton and going after Clayton's name. And on top of that, she's trying to make herself out to be this reasonable person when nothing in this is reasonable at all. Excuse me, I'm lighting my cigar. I'm trying to be calm somewhat. I mean, this stuff really does, like, we joke about it and things. This is what some people don't get. Like, I know when I'm joking around with Megan, it's so, like, by myself, you can hear the anger come out sometimes. And I don't like to be angry. I don't like to feel angry. But this stuff is so messed up. And Clayton's been trying to play it, you know, in a way. He can't go out and play the victim like a Laura Owens can. You know, this is already socially stacked against Clayton Echard. Luckily for him, she wasn't a good liar. Because if she was a good liar, then she would have taken a flamethrower to his life. You think about that. Not just with the stuff I talked about before, but if she would have gone in and been a little smarter about medical, if she wasn't so convinced she could get away with it. It's dangerous. But anyway, based on the findings, Arizona Department of Real Estate, I'm well within my rights to propose such an agreement. I was essentially saying, well, let's end this. We can be on friendly terms. That's what she's saying. Agree to drop the current case, and I won't sue you for real estate misconduct so we can both move on with our lives. Right there, that's a threat. How is that not a threat? You drop this current case, which has nothing at all to do with real estate. What it really does is it deals with her linking into his life. You agree that you will not sue over this right here. And I agree that I'll drop these claims against you. How is this? She's calling that quid pro quo, you know? But honestly, how is that? You know, again, she gets boxed in because the twinspiracy thing. Remember, she wasn't just, she figured she was involved in a paternity suit. She could drop at any time, right? No more alleged child, no more alleged twins. No more case. But she found out that the courts allowed it to go further because the courts recognized just how weird, just how jacked up this stuff was. Cue to the JFC crew pounding their keys as fast as they can to scream why I was in the wrong. Oh my God. Cue to the JFC cult. Where's this link to? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull this off the screen just so I can push the link. I don't know what it goes to. It's a YouTube video, but I want to see what it's going to. Oh, this is off. So this is on the Laura Owens. Oh my God. You want to see some weird jacked up stuff? Now she doesn't own this either. Just to say, she put this up on her YouTube. But look at this. So where does that link, you might be wondering? Well, it links, one second here. It links to a YouTube channel under her name with 1 minute and 39 seconds of audio. I'm just going to play this, because what is it? I mean, in the whole thing, like I said, I'm a completionist. Let's play this here.
And she approved of those offers?
Yeah, she signed off on them.
And did you send those offers to the owners?
I did not.
Did you inform my client that you had sent those offers to the owners?
I told her that I sent it, yes.
You lied to my client?
Absolutely. For good reason.
For good reason.
She had no...
And Mr. Echard, I apologize. There's no question in front of you. I'm going to ask you to answer my questions.
Actually do the
I'm going to ask you to answer my questions.
You're not going to talk over me.
Clayton, Mr. Echard, this is a deposition.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you questions, and I'll ask that you answer those questions.
And I'm going to talk, and you're going to listen as well.
This is not a podcast. I'm going to ask that you answer my questions.
Fine. Okay.
So smarmy, aren't they? Oh, did you not do this? Did you? Did you not? He's like, well, I have good reason. Oh, no, don't you bring that reason in here. We've rigged these questions where you can't talk about anything with that. Clayton actually stood his ground. He was like, yeah, when I speak, yeah, you get to listen to me too. It's not a podcast. No shit. It's an uncomfortable situation that Laura Owens dragged this man into and wanted to wreck his life with. But of course, we're talking about real estate, which means fuck all in a paternity case. I mean, what does this have to do with a paternity case, by the way? What does that have to do with it?
You testified, you stated during your interview, the podcast that you referenced earlier, quote, I told her I submitted them when I didn't, and technically I did violate my fiduciary duties. Do you recall that?
Yes.
What fiduciary duties do you believe you violated?
To be transparent and truthful with the client.
And you weren't transparent and truthful with your client, is that correct?
Yes, for good reason.
In fact, isn't it also true that when my client asked you if there had been a response in relation to those two offers, that you doubled down on your lie and you told her that you hadn't yet heard back?
Yes.
So you again lied to my client.
Well, I hadn't heard back. That's truthful.
Because you never sent the offers.
Correct.
Now, you notice they didn't upload his why this stuff happened at all. Oh, man, that's so strange, isn't it? So strange that they wouldn't include that. I wonder why they wouldn't include that part, huh? Like I said, I'm completionist there. So this is that part. We don't have to actually read that. But let's be real. This won't change your minds because Clayton can do no wrong in your eyes, just like I can do no right. Because as my attorney and friend, oh, they're friends now. I wonder how he feels about Iceland. I wonder if he likes Iceland. I hear it's a nice place to visit. Allegedly. He says, because you're a cult. Uh-huh. It sounds more like we have a cult of two. It's kind of like this. When anybody looks at the sum total of this case, and they say, this is batshit crazy. Whenever they look at it, it's not a he said, she said. It's she said, but she didn't provide any proof. And he said it was a lie. Prove it. And she's like, no. My anonymity. And the court says it and everything else. Uh-huh. And when other guys are like, hey, that happened to me too. Remember, me too only matters when, though, right? I mean, that's a true me too. P.S. I know you'll say I'm out of control because I dared to speak out this weekend, and multiple times the nerves. The first insult will be, wait for it, must be a crazy week. Yeah. This has been very nice so far. Thanks for asking. I didn't even know what the hell she was. She's like, by the way, these people, they totally stalk my life and they totally find out all the stuff I'm doing. And by the way, I'm having a nice weekend. I got up early. I work out with my sister, rode 2 horses, and now I'm standing up for myself. Yeah. The truth is, this is the first time I felt empowered in months. You've all had voices, and it's time you heard mine. You haven't shut the fuck up any. Oh my God. She was doing Medium articles before this. She had her lawyer out there, just basically ripping and roaring and threatening people. Which is her voice, by the way. That's her out there. That's her representation, writing blogs and going after people. So yeah, of course, but she hasn't had a voice at all. I mean, again, she shoved this into the spotlight. And P.S. Total letdown for the JFC crew who think Judge Matta's decision are the final nail in my coffin. Spoiler alert, they're not. Truth, David and I couldn't be more confident that Judge Matta's ruling will not stand. And again, why? And then she freaks out about this too. Until then, go back to watching small-time lawyers moonlighting as law tubers, trying to monetize their channels with a built-in audience of JFCers. Trying to monetize. I'm very good at monetizing my channel. What are you talking about? You know, we can talk about anything. By the way, if you enjoy this content, make sure that you like, make sure you subscribe, and if you'd like to send some breadstick money, yeah, apparently do that too. I mean, seriously. Oh my God, you're all just trying to monetize channels with built-in audiences of the Justice for Claytons. I'll be honest, like, one thing I'll give Laura credit for one thing. She's brought a lot of people that couldn't agree on chewing bubblegum the correct way. You know? I mean, seriously, you know, disagree on a lot of things in life. But you know what they agree on? That this is wrong. I mean, really, you have to give her props for that. This is so egregious that people that did want to believe her, that did go out, and they would typically listen and believe, now they've gotten a fresh problem. You know, I remember when I first talked about this, I got a couple of letters from people because there were people trying to understand. Like I say, you know, a lot, like listen and believe. You can't do that. You can show empathy to people that say they've been through something horrible. You know, they point another finger at somebody, though. You can't just believe that. And you know, those folks, they've seen what that means. It doesn't mean you don't show empathy to people. It just means you don't burn lives down because there are liars out there. You know, and it's fascinating to see people like this wake up more and more folks to this specific thing. They couldn't, you can't make an example better than this case. They're playing you like a fiddle, though. I'm playing you like a fiddle, baby. Telling you exactly what you want to hear, that I have no case for appeal. You can appeal anything. Nobody said that you don't have a case for appeal, because everything can be appealed. But winning, I mean, what's your go-to in this? That Judge Matta, her father, was supposedly there, and because of people that were talking about that, they paraphrase a supposed statement. And because somebody recognizes someone, again, that's their two go-tos. They have been, number one, father, and number two, somebody recognized Megan Fox. What's wild, too, what they don't include, and again, if I didn't read through, this is one of the reasons I read through these things, because they tell you things that you don't really know, that they don't tell to the media or anything else. Like David Gingras in his last blog noted that he wrote an email to the judge. He wanted the judge privately to answer questions instead of filing the necessary documentation you should have if you have a problem in court. And he said, well, there's no need to file that anymore. So he had no intent on filing a document. But if you read through his statement, again, he can correct this if he does not agree with my interpretation. But my interpretation is, again, what I just said. Plus, he's saying, before I could get that done, as expected, her decision comes out. 19-page decision. And you think it's a gotcha? Oh, she knows she did wrong, therefore. I mean, that's how they wrote it up. But that's the entirety of their go-to. I mean, essentially, they're trying to say it should have, if they weren't so biased there, they would have bought in to the installed timeline, and they would have just dismissed the case because there is no child. But there's so much more to this case. But why, they say? Why would they do that? Because it makes them money. Yeah, that is part of covering anything. But you know what? I could cover, to be honest, there are much bigger cases out there. If people were just doing this for money, they would cover Karen. Again, nothing against that. It's a crazy case too. Props to anybody that covers it. But a much bigger case with bigger audiences would be like Karen Reed. It'd be easier. It's also easier as it plays out in court. But you know what? This needs justice. So if you think everyone is motivated by the breadstick money, that's absolutely crazy. But that's going to be their go-to. Oh, those people, they only say this because. Now, if I thought Laura Owens was telling the truth, I would say that. Man. Unfortunately for her, I mean, her biggest problem, again, Planned Parenthood. I think this is the biggest issue. You think about this. She says that she gets something that would be necessary. She's going to get a sonogram, right? She could prove the viability of a child in the courtroom. She says, yes, I had this done at Planned Parenthood. And I changed some of the information at the top so Clayton wouldn't know who was there. Well, the judge is like, okay, we'll turn over that documentation. And she's like, well, I went under an anonymous name. Then she changes it to, well, I went under a fake name. She also put a date on top of that where Planned Parenthood is actually closed. I mean, when you think about it, it doesn't work. But it offered to pay them double what they're making now to present my side. I bet you they'd take it. Just because you've run into lawyers that will take your case. I mean, again, it's so wild. If I offered to pay them, if it was that easy, people would be bought. They'd be out here talking about that just like this. Again, one simple piece of evidence is all she would have had to come up with. And notice the tags on this, too. She tags this as women's rights. You talk about one of the nastiest things that you see that's done. Using women's rights as a way to go after Clayton Echard. Because, you know, their claim is always, it's the ism, it's the sexism. Now, there was another blog that came out that is crazy, that's also tagged on here. It's got a tag of DV. I'm going to pull this up. Women's rights, abuse, mental health, and also her name. But this one, and I'm skipping over the first picture there. Just give me 1 second. I'm jumping over it here. I want to read the title. It says, "Don't tell me I wasn't abused. You weren't there." This was posted a day ago. And if you look at the Medium, give me 1 minute here. If you look at Medium itself, 1 second, her account, you'll find something fascinating about all these articles. You'll find that Laura has been removing articles here. She's actually, some of this stuff stands, some of it doesn't. But I mean, a lot of this stuff just drops off. And it's crazy to see. Oh, excuse me 1 second. Pulling this up here. She doesn't, the thing that we just read, that's not there anymore. This one, the "Don't Tell Me I Wasn't," that's still up. And when Judges played Doctor, I still haven't gotten to read that one yet, where she goes after the judge. But this one was crazy. Now, this one's long. Let's see. We'll get through some of this, okay? You, the online, and she's talking to you. She's not talking. This is the crazy thing about it. She's not talking to just random people out there. She's talking specifically to anyone that has looked at this case. I'm talking about Clayton or any other folks. This is addressed to you. But you, the online cult of justice for Clayton, have twisted my life into your grotesque narrative, turning my truth into your lies and painting men I used to date who have restraining orders against as martyrs. You gather around hashtags, Reddit threads, Twitter feeds, hell-bent on destroying me and dismissing my reality, especially what happened to me and my ex from 2016 to 2017. Yes, the one I got a DV restraining order against in 2018, which was renewed 2020 until 2025. The one you claim wasn't violent, you know. One of the ones you call my victim. I'm over it. Apparently you're not over it because you're still fucking talking about it and you're writing giant-ass blogs about it. So you're definitely not over it. And who brought this guy up, by the way? Who brought these people into the fray? Who actually motivated them to come to the courtroom? Was it you or I? No. It was Laura Owens and their attorney. Why? Because they started writing blogs about these people. They started attacking them relentlessly online. They're the ones that led back to them. They wanted this attention. They thought that it would be easy to go after these people, to silence them, because they knew that as far as a proverbial loaded gun, yeah, this loaded it even further. But really, just today I saw a tweet saying, hashtag Laura Owens has falsely accused multiple men. You act like you have some inside knowledge of my life. Let me be clear. Don't tell me I wasn't abused. You weren't there. That's always the go-to, by the way. Don't tell me because you weren't there. Therefore, it had to have happened. You know. It had to. I mean, again, her own words in a deposition. We got to read them. Her own narrative. I'm sorry, declaration. I shouldn't say deposition. Declaration. We got to see the depositions of others as well, but we saw her declaration. And her declaration in her own words does not, I mean, the stuff that she points out, again, kinky McLovin time, a supposed event that happens on a plane. These guys' names, look at what she's doing to it. So, you spend your days scrutinizing every aspect of my life, trying to ruin me. You act as if you have the right to judge me, to question my integrity, to label me a liar. You weren't there when I dated him in 2016, 2017. You didn't hear the threats. You didn't feel the fear. You have no idea what it's like to have your self-esteem crushed by nothing but his words. You don't understand the intense self-hatred I felt for not valuing myself enough to leave. He made me feel worthless. Don't tell me I wasn't abused. You weren't there. That's going to be a return theme, you know, because this is just supposedly written on the fly, right? Only You write it out like you're writing a high school poetry freaking project, you know? I mean, it looks like a writing assignment. Every time I see the venomous rhetoric for justice for Clayton, I'm transported back to the worst times of my life. You weren't there when I was hiding bruises. You weren't there when I was crying myself to sleep. You weren't there when, at the end, my mother left me countless voicemails begging me to call her back. Call her back and stay with him. You weren't there at the end of 2017 when I was desperately seeking a way out. So he left. He was out of your life, but you contacted another woman? You're like, oh, I'm just doing a PSA. I mean, Jesus. I stayed on the East Coast for weeks, trying to leave the relationship slowly so not to upset him. Don't tell me I wasn't abused. You weren't there. Look, I know how he comes off at first. Of course I do. That's how you see him, and obviously, that's why I fell for him. He was sweet, kind, and loving, a teddy bear, as you call him. That's not who he is. I don't remember calling him a teddy bear, by the way. I don't think I've ever called another man a teddy bear. I said something like Clayton Echard was a, this isn't about Clayton Echard, but I remember as far as a man, I said that he was like a tall drink of water. And, she looks like she's been parched in the desert, but I don't remember calling any man a teddy bear. He suffocated me with a pillow to the point of being unconscious, strangled me regularly, slapped me, left me with bruises, and you call him innocent. You weren't there. This kind of stuff in her own words, slap on the butt? That's what we're talking about, the slapping on the buttocks during, again, bedtime time or bedroom time, whatever. He made me feel less than human. He lied about everything. Don't tell me I wasn't abused. Let's see, declaration. She put a piece of the declaration, by the way. I read this whole thing live, too, for her declaration. But this, I like how she also redacted the name, but didn't redact the name. So she left the person's name in there. She did that. Now, these are court documents, so that name is allowed to be out there. But she just put that name out there, She put this person's name there. Isn't that fascinating? So I, redacted, who's not redacted, declared the following. I make all the statements herein, personal knowledge, we skip that. I'd never met Owens before December 30th, 2016. On that day, they were flying Wow Airlines, going to Iceland, fiance, Miss Owens, and a man I now know to be Mr. Redacted, which we know who that is because of Iceland, was seated in a row behind me. Throughout, I heard Mr. Redacted speaking to Miss Owens in a tone of voice that I would characterize as scary. I don't recall the specifics of what he was saying, but I do remember him belittling her. For a long period of time, he insulted and demeaned her, making belittling remarks one after the other. Miss Owens did very little talking. Most of what I heard of their communications was him trying to put her down. The entire time Mr. Redacted berated her, she cried. When this happened, Mr. Redacted would demand that she stop crying, or he'd berate her even more. Even though I cannot remember the specifics of what he said during that conversation, I remember Redacted was emotionally and verbally abusive towards her for a long time. Based on what he was saying to her, I felt that she was in a frightening situation and she needed to get out. He was so menacing that I felt her life was at stake. Were she to stay with him? So, because of what you heard behind that you can't remember, you thought that it was so menacing that her life was in danger? Okay. And you wrote that sticky note? Not like... Anyway. Several hours into the flight, I decided to write her a note on a cocktail napkin. In the note, I wrote. I overheard the conversation. I told her she was being abused and deserved better. I urged her to get help and wrote that I was concerned about her safety. Because of these types of things Mr. Redacted was saying and the way he's talking to her, I was too afraid to include my full name or phone number. I was afraid he would come after me if he found the note, so I wrote an old email address of mine that doesn't contain a name and slipped it to her. I did not speak to her or him during the flight. I heard nothing from her until November 2017. when her mother contacted me. Since then, I've communicated with her mother about what I've observed. So that's her statement there. Again, you know, a stranger overheard whatever's going on in this plane. And that's going to be their go-to. Well, a stranger was listening to something. And Laura Owens, I mean, again, we've seen fucking hundreds of messages from, oh my God. Like, she would put me to a breaking point. This is one of the nastiest things, too. You know, God knows what's going on. And yet, you have this supposed random stranger pop up. But a stranger who heard him verbally abuse me had the guts to slip a note on the plane ride to Iceland telling me I deserved better. She left an email and wrote in her declaration, we just saw that. She saw it, she heard it. She knew the truth and had the courage to document it. Don't tell me I wasn't abused. You want to get podcast interviews I've done speaking about her and how she saved me from an abusive relationship off the internet? How she saved you? You didn't leave their relationship didn't terminate after that. You went to Iceland. You continued a relationship. Much, much longer than that. It's fascinating to be like, it ended there. It didn't. Just remember, I never said his name. There's the go-to, too. I don't use the name. I don't use their name. You want my TEDx talk taken down? A talk that was about this exact interaction. One bizarre theory of yours is that I hired her. Yeah, I bought a plane ticket for a stranger to sit in front of me on a flight to Iceland. I just knew he would be horrendous to me on the plane. Or you say that I wrote the note myself, and you even spent money hiring handwriting experts. Guess what? She exists. She left her email on the note. You left her name in the declaration, too. Bravo for you. So you left a name that people, obviously, if they hadn't looked up, they would. She wrote a declaration in support of me, saying she was scared of him. I know her now. He knows she exists. He doesn't deny any of this. I like how some text messages matter, by the way. Hi, Laura. I hope this finds you well. I never got a chance to say this, but I just wanted to say thank you for giving me the heads up on Mike. I want to apologize for not believing you at the time. Woman to woman, I just want you to know that I appreciate what you did. I really do appreciate it because it opened my eyes to serious deception, so thank you again. In regard to your case, I understand how complex these things can be, but need to ask that I stay out of it. Some things happen. I'd prefer to stay far removed from him. I hope you understand. I wish you all the best. And if we're happy to be in the same Barry's class again, I'll definitely say hi. We got all the best here on that one. So here's a woman that dates. So she contacts a woman. Look, she tells you. She reaches out to this woman. The woman who dated him after me saw through his facade too. Yeah, from this, essentially, you said, oh my God. You made horrible allegations about a person. And you destroy their reputation. I mean, again, you know, if things were fair, a two-way street, he would have been like, this person's a psycho. They lied to me about pregnancy. They had their parents texting me saying that they were going to off themselves if I didn't interact. I tried to leave a relationship, but I mean, instead, she's just hitting up her. Oh, man. I mean, she's admitting to it, point blank right here. Point blank. She reached out to me and said, I never got a chance to say this before, but I wanted to just thank you for giving me a heads up on him, and I apologize for not believing woman to woman. Just appreciate that. She continued, I really do appreciate it because you opened my eyes to some serious deceptions, but I blocked him on every platform when I ended things, so I have no idea what he's up to and avoid interaction at all costs. So she destroyed that. And this woman also said, hey, leave me out of all this, right? She just asked. She was like, you know, I asked that I stay out of it. Well, has she left her out of it? No. She used this woman who she contacted as a bludgeon in this. Like, isn't that crazy? I mean, even Laura Owens, who is saying, oh man, look at this. This woman left. She brought her into this mess. She put this out into the public and left this up too. Hey, there's a justice, or Clayton's justice. Noting the horse jumper. It's the horse jumper. And again, Schnitzel Ninja, they had a video up there. Commented on that. Oh my God. A tweet just now, while I'm writing this, from Seeking Justice for All Victims of Laura Owens, Jesus Christ. Showed a video of me falling off a horse, claiming it was taken by him. Insane. My mother took the video in San Juan, whatever, June 2017, a full month after I had seizures. He was in San Francisco at the time. I sent him the video, he wasn't there. And guess what? Neither were you. I was there. I was transported there. I was transported there as that horse bucked you off of that. And apparently, I thought you were proud of your horse riding days. Let's see. She's searching hashtag Laura Owens. Look, she's searching her name. So she goes online every day and searches her name. Isn't that wild? So here's Amanda. You remember the Medium article person I brought up? The reason that I brought up their specific tweet in all of this is because Laura Owens decided to add them into this. Into a Medium article, which apparently you can't respond to. Apparently somebody gets to throw darts at you, but as far as the dartboard, it's totally not rigged. Totally. Then there are tweets from Amanda H. tagging Uber's chief legal counsel and spreading lies about me, alleging epilepsy in my filings against them. Seriously. I never alleged epilepsy in the Uber filings. Go get them from court if you're so convinced that I did, or better yet, get a hobby. So she's telling you, here's the thing too. Like, she says, these people are so crazy. They look through all the legal documents, but she also says, go get those documents. Okay, all right. That's a pretty vehicle. Wow. I made a mess of the back of that vehicle. Yuck. Hashtag yikes. Then there's the pregnancy. He knew I was pregnant. He went to Planned Parenthood with me. Went near his job, see, in his own words, because she knew I was working out there, that it would be closer if I went with her to be there for support. You claim I made up a pregnancy to stay with him, to trap him. He said he would stay with me whether or not I had an abortion. He said, I just said I would stay in her life with or without the child. I like how we get a little picture of that. So we got a piece of it. You know, we actually read through this whole thing. There's a lot said, Laura. Quite a bit. Like I just focus on the, they're gonna stick with me. They're gonna stay otherwise. Now, let's not forget your claim that I told him I had cancer. Really? Where's the mention of that? 142-page deposition. He mentions that I have polycystic ovaries. You really think he forgot? It's just another lie. So again, all those texts and stuff, all of that. None of that stuff matters, right? There was more posted about this too, actually. Clayton's Justice has posted some more on that too. It makes me sick to hear you say I'm not a real survivor, that my story isn't valid. How the hell do you know? You weren't there. You don't know what I lived through. Don't tell me I wasn't abused. You weren't there. You armchair critics Had the nerve to say I made all of this up. Get a life and stop pretending that you were there in 2016 to 2017 when he made me feel like a worthless piece of shit and treated me like one both physically and emotionally. As I told my friends, when he would put a pillow over my head and have sex with me, I felt inhuman, like a cadaver. He said I was too ugly to look at, and I came to believe him. That's a interesting add-on, too. Don't tell me I wasn't abused. You weren't there. You don't care about the truth. You only care about your twisted narrative and the toxic community you've created about tearing down one woman. You know what's fascinating is most of the people that talk about this stuff, the people that do a lot of the research, there are a lot of women there. And of course they dismiss the women. They dismiss the women that have been through terrible things, saying that they're somehow fangirls or whatever, you know, and it's absolutely wild. I've seen this before. I've seen it in a few cases. You know. But you call yourselves advocates for justice, but what you really are is a cult. A cult that thrives on harassment, defamation, and cruelty. Don't tell me I wasn't abused. You weren't there. He knows what he did. I know what he did. And the haunting truth is that only we know the full extent of his abuse. You don't, you weren't there, so don't you dare tell me I wasn't abused. Now, she put this up too. Again, going after a second person. Like I said, she's been on a roll, going after multiple folks. Multiple folks. And let's see. Let me see if I can pull this up. There was a nice response to that. Would you like to see a response? There is a nice one that's still up. It's called, "Don't Tell Me to Believe You. We Were There in Court." Another raging article came out last night from Laura Owens. "Don't tell me I wasn't abused. You weren't there." Since the verdict awarding the victory to Clayton and recommending county attorney prosecute Laura criminally for the perjury she committed, we have seen her toxic behavior escalate. Laura insists vehemently in her article that since we were not present, we have no right to question her claims of abuse. The judge, however, emphasized the perspective of a quote-unquote reasonable person. Although we were not witness to the times Laura accuses Mike of abuse, there exists a substantial volume of evidence from 3 separate court cases where it consistently appears Laura seeks retribution against men who reject her. Evaluating this documentation with a reasonable mindset, it becomes implausible to support Laura's accusations. Considering Laura's article, Raging Against Mike, let's analyze a few points that once again fail to align with reason. Since Laura enjoys copying and pasting portions of a screenshot, let's take a quick look at how believable the judge found Laura. And again, this is a piece of that. Again, court finds uncredible and a misuse of judicial resources. A reasonable person, it's noted, would not have gone through things the way she did. A reasonable person would have gone out and sought actual help. Talking about the pregnancy. Now let's look at the first picture Laura posted in her article. The picture she believes displays proof that she was abused. It's just a picture. There's no supporting documentation whatsoever. I'm not a medical doctor. So I did the only reasonable thing a layperson could do. I dropped the photo she used of herself into Google Photos. Again, I'll use screenshots of what came up. So they know. You know, this is what comes up if you actually look at Google versus the pictures that she adds at the beginning. I did not put that picture up at the very beginning, by the way, because... yeah. The reason I did that is because this platform doesn't like you talking about that specific type of picture. So I did not include that one. But you can include rosacea and everything else. So, Google Photos suggests that this could be indicative of conditions such as, and they go through different conditions here, among numerous, they say. This is not a statement from me asserting that she has any of these conditions. Rather, it underscores the point that posting a screenshot picture without content or documentation, claiming it's evidence of abuse, and expecting unquestioning belief is problematic, especially when your credibility has repeatedly been shown to be unreliable, unreasonable, untrue, and an attempt at vengeance rather than justice. Laura's claim that Justice for Clayton movement has, quote, twisted my life into your grotesque narrative, turning my truth into your lies and painting men I used to date who have restraining orders on as martyrs. However, it is Laura herself who has distorted the truth into falsehoods. This fact has not escaped the judge's notice. The grotesque narrative into which her tales have been twisted is a result of choices Laura repeatedly made when men she fixated on sought to remove the toxicity from their lives. I very much agree with that statement. I very much agree with that. You know, when people choose to get her out of their lives, she's responding, again, this is the kind of shit that gets you sued. And she seems determined to get sued. Now, Laura conveniently omits a crucial detail in a recent article. Clayton was also granted a restraining order against her. If her intent is to persuade readers that the mere granting of a restraining order signifies abuse, then she implicates herself as an abuser, given that she too is under such an order. However, it is important to note the restraining order alone is not evidence of abuse. Courts often issue them as a precautionary measure. Typically, when a woman requests a temporary restraining order alleging abuse, it's granted as a precautionary measure rather than proof of abuse. In the closing lines of her first paragraph, she declares, I'm over it. If she was genuinely the case, if that was, one might wonder why she continues to write articles and obsessively monitor social media for mentions about her. That's true. Like I was saying, that's the thing that jumped out to me right there. It's worth noting that engaging with social media posts is a voluntary activity. It would be encouraging to witness Laura truly moving on, address the root causes of her behavior, and seek help. It's challenging to accept her claims of being, quote-unquote, over it, when her actions, including being referred by a judge to potential criminal prosecution by a county attorney, suggests otherwise. Laura persists in her tirade by alleging that the hashtag JFC movement is scrutinizing her life to destroy her. Contrary to her assertions, the JFC movement is scrutinizing court documents, emails, altered sonograms, and text messages authenticated by a forensic computer professional. The objective is not to ruin her life, but rather to liberate these men from years of false allegations she has levied against them. Laura claims I was desperately seeking a way out, referring to her relationship with Mike. Let's approach this statement with reason. Laura did not have children with Mike. They did not live together. They were not married. Unlike many abused women who are financially dependent on their partner, Laura was not relying on his income. Additionally, Laura's parents, who are purportedly influential, though I've never heard of them prior to this, begged Mike via text to remain. See this, the other stuff, I understand, again, I'm not taking a shot at the person writing this, but this alone, people stay in horrible situations. And this is the problem with a Laura. Many people that go through horrible, horrible things. Abuse isn't just physical. When you get into the verbal, a lot of that's manipulation, a skilled abuser. And I would say that what Laura does, especially with this next part, this edition is more. Given the messages there. Why did Laura never mention anything? She doesn't. Now, sometimes, again, by itself, that doesn't also mean anything either. Some people will not mention anything via text messages. I try to not ever text anything negative about, like, you know, certain, I try not to put out in the world negatives about specific people. It doesn't help, you know. But with her, like I said, the manipulation tactics, what you look at, I'm not saying those people are abusers. What I'm saying is, you know, sometimes if there was a bad thing about someone, you just don't text bad things about certain people. Now, Laura doesn't seem to have that problem. Laura doesn't seem to, she seems fine with talking a lot of shit about certain people. But she doesn't bring that subject up. Then the parents, what really comes up with it is the way the parents, the manipulation. And again, we saw the manipulation play out with, they had a dinner where they reportedly talked about Laura's lies about pregnancy and more. We saw the manipulation through, again, she will end her life if you don't, therefore you must. That kind of stuff, those are warning signs. But if Laura's so desperate to get away from him, why'd she purchase a ticket for 2 to Iceland? The facts have been publicly shown and verified, do not align with their narrative. Laura continues to present. Laura asserts that Mike made her feel less than human. However, it's important to recognize that no one can inherently make a person feel a certain way. If Laura truly felt diminished and less than human, why didn't she immediately seek help from a therapist to address why she allowed herself to feel this way throughout their relationship? But why did she not reach out for assistance with the alleged abuse? In situations such as the one in the hotel in Iceland, where she claims to have been subjected to physical assault and verbal abuse, why weren't the police or hotel security not attached? Next, there's the infamous napkin lady story. If this woman, purportedly a witness to verbal, not physical abuse, truly exists and is not a fabrication or hired by Laura, where is she? She demonstrated bravery in slipping Laura a note, yet she has not stepped forward to corroborate Laura's story. Surely she must be aware of the widespread disbelief in Laura's story, which has only intensified in the past 10 months. Why hasn't she appeared on any content creators' broadcast to validate their narrative? It's understandable why many consider this woman to be another creation of Laura's imagination. And yes, people have problems believing her because she's fabricated people. There's many items out there that they seem just total fabrications. Then we have, the N-word issue that doesn't get brought up that much, but you have that and more. There's so much more. Instead of focusing on writing article after article without documented proof in an attempt to sway the public opinion, it's not the public she's going after, though. It's you. Like, that's the thing. She's going after specific portions because she can't stand that when she came out that people called this stuff out. Why not focus on getting someone that can verify her claims? True. Whereas the unaltered evidence corroborates these incidents, Laura excels at making sensational allegations, but appears less adept at providing verifiable proof that has not been tampered with. And this other part here, too. What's really sad about that other part? One question that nobody asks, well, I'm sure people do ask, but one thing that doesn't get brought up as much, why can't Mike be the victim? When you look at the manipulation through text and everything else, why can't he be a victim? Is that because of the gear between his legs? Is that because she shouts this from the rooftops? Why couldn't he have been the victim here? I mean, if you looked at that, if I just put those text messages in front of you and I removed the person that wrote them, like here's a very interesting exercise. If you take away the sender, like look at a Greg Gillespie, for example. If I took away the sender and I told you there are two parties here that are having communication, you pick out to me which one sounds like the abusive one. Who would you say is abusive there? and why. And that's the real kicker in it. You know? Like these narratives that she puts out, if you take her words and you flip them, why can't they be? It'd be so easy to believe if this was a female talking about it. And this is a problem societally I think we have. Because it's ingrained in, I'm not talking about you, I'm just talking socially, period. Societally, it's harder for us to come to that. Even when we come to that, you know. I mean, in the worst case scenarios, like Megan and I were talking about the other day, when it becomes school teachers, for example, with little kids, right? How does that get framed? Well, you have people that comment about it all the time saying that's their dream. Oh, well, you know, being in a relationship with crazy, well, that gives you the best, let's just say, bedtime activities. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, are you really kidding me? Where is the any unaltered evidence that corroborates these incidents? Laura excels, making sensational allegations, but appears less adept at providing verifiable proof that has not been tampered with. That's true. The tampered portion. Laura's tirade persists as she alleged that a woman Mike dated after her reached out saying, I never got a chance to say this before, but I wanted to say thank you for giving me a heads up and I apologize for not believing you at any time. Once more, if the account is genuine, why hasn't this woman come forward to substantiate Laura's claims? Where is she? Typically, individuals are quick to support someone who has endured abuse from the same perpetrator, as in this case have been. This situation is another instance of Laura asserting something dramatic without providing straightforward evidence to support her claims. In that, I could see somebody leaving Mike because she alleged some pretty horrible shit. And she went into the courtroom and went after him. Now, if a person stands by, like you think about it in this day and age, if a person stands with someone accused, they too end up in the crosshairs. So, assuming, again, and it is a big assumption to say that that account is real, but assuming it was, let's just say best case scenario, that is indeed a real person, and they contacted, they got away, they said they did not want to be part of this. I think that is as much a cue as anything else. Perhaps they didn't want to be in the crosshairs of crazy. Or perhaps they suffer from the idea of listen and believe. Because somebody writes you out of the blue. And most people, it's taken a long time for people to come to this conclusion in life that people lie. Now, you'd come to that very quickly if I was talking about leaving your front door open. You know? Hey, you know, move into a neighborhood full of 200 random women. Leave your doors unlocked because everybody's trustworthy, right? No way you do that. There's no way in hell. Or, hey, here's another exercise. Make like a little Facebook or a DM, you know, a Twitter DM group, right? Take 500 random women. Because we're talking about women here. We're not talking about random people. We're talking about random women. And put your bank account information in there, but tell them not to mess with your bank accounts. You do that, right? Because everyone's trustworthy. No, you would never do that. Because that would be insane. Because you know people are liars and manipulators and they're thieves. That doesn't mean everyone is. That means some people can be and people understand that. But when you get to this kind of stuff, people just buy in. It's also the path of least resistance. Socially, if you say, I'm not going to fully embrace or believe that, you get a lot of blowback, man. For me, I noticed when I talk about this, like you become, I'm sure you run into this, you become an internet villain. You know, you have a villain arc. Why? Because you don't fully embrace a story of someone that points the finger at another person. You don't fully embrace that. And even more than that, I mean, you have people that they threaten to ruin other folks. Like Laura has threatened to ruin people. And yet. But Laura presented numerous screenshots of messages. However, considering Laura's history of altering documents, these screenshots do not constitute definitive proof of anything. Instead of showing us manipulated screenshots, why doesn't Laura encourage these individuals to step forward and personally defend her statements? Just like her pregnancy with Clayton's case could have been so easily proven. So could have these witnesses. Laura chose to do anything except the reasonable and expected ways women prove pregnancy. Laura also has not had one single friend or person outside of her family step up and confirm her accusations. And that's true too. Not one person they don't back her. You know, you don't hear people backing her wild. And it's because if you take Mike out of the equation, Greg Gillespie, how long was she around Gillespie? What kind of relationship did they have? What about Clayton Echard? What kind of relationship did they have? We're talking about the brevity to these things, you know? I mean, her allegations of them being abusive too. They're abusive because what? Like with Clayton, again, remember, her proof of abuse was him making a statement after he had been forced into this insanity, this paternity insanity, and then her saying that sock accounts, they were somehow his based on lies. By the way, if I lose power for some reason, we have a storm that just started rolling through. I don't trust I will not lose power. If I do, well, if I do, I do. We've all come across the forensically verified text messages circulating where Laura informed Mike that she had cancer and undergo surgery to remove an ovary. Despite denying accusations of faking that, she provided no evidence or counter-argument to authenticated text messages we've seen. Instead, she attempts to sidestep the issue with verbal gymnastics, as if hoping we'll overlook the clear evidence that she has presented. Laura asserts, quote, "You, the public," actually, no, it's you, the people that don't believe me. That's actually who she's on. It's not just the public. Again, she calls anyone that doesn't believe her, that's the JFC cult. Well, you know, because if you don't believe her, you're somehow in a cult. Maybe that is the public too. I mean, like I said, I haven't ran into people that when they read through this, they think that this stuff is legit. Again, even the court was like, what the what? But you don't care about the truth. You only care about your twisted narrative and toxic community you've created. It's difficult not to see this statement as one that applies to herself. Indeed, she has been found guilty of exactly that behavior. The hashtag JFC movement is deeply committed to uncovering the truth, which has been our singular focus for the past 10 months. What we've discovered is that Laura has distorted the narrative and inflicted a level of toxicity in the lives of 3 men that is difficult to comprehend. We prioritize truth and justice, rejecting fabricated documents, lack of evidence, and falsehoods. I want to make this very clear. No one that I've met in the hashtag JFC movement wants to hurt Laura. No. In fact, I do not encourage interaction with Laura in any way, shape, or form. If I'm talking about something, I'm talking about publicly stated items. When somebody states something on Twitter, it's out there on Twitter. When somebody states things in court documents, they state things in court documents. I wouldn't have cared about this either. Just to be quite frank about this, she's the one who brought it to the attention of everyone, not just me, not just Megan Fox or Dave Neal or Reddit or whomever, but the general public. When we get into just random ass people out there, she's the one who presented that to the Sun, which, again, the Sun is the type of publication that a few years ago you'd have been strolling down the grocery aisle or you'd have been checking out at Walmart and you would have found their publication right beside other publications that talk about, you know, the Bat Boy is real and, you know, that other crazy shit. Which the Bat Boy stuff was more entertaining to read back then, I would have to say. But Nobody wants to hurt her, and that's very true. We want her to stop hurting herself and those that come into her life. We want her to seek help in the hopes that one day she can heal from the damage she has caused and possibly go on to live a happy and healthy life, a life that knows true, genuine love, rather than a life that traps men with dating contracts, fake pregnancies, and sensational tales of deceit. We want these men to have justice and regain their lives and careers. Laura claims this has all taken such a toll on her, but she could just stop this at any time. She should stop going on social media platforms using fake accounts, claiming outlandish stories, stop abusing the justice system to invoke punishment on men who do not want her in their lives, stop the deceit, not just to men, the court, the public, but also to herself. Laura could so easily turn this story positive by accepting responsibility for her actions and her untruth, seeking help, and documenting her redemption story. I don't agree with that. I think it would stop the discussion if she would, but I don't think there's. It's up to the men that are involved ultimately as her victims to say whether or not she gets a redemption arc. But I'm going to say that everyone should beware. When cornered, if she finally admits. Now, she does need help. I would agree with that. But she could go out and she's making her name recognizable. Before, when I first looked up her name months ago, what I found was discussions about her with podcasts or this or that. Pretty innocuous bullshit. Now, what do I find it with? I find it with a court decision because she doesn't stop. I think it could be a repair story. I just don't know about a redemption. Again, that's no shot at the person that's writing this. I just disagree with I don't want a person like this doing this to someone else. And I don't believe that unless they have a judicial decision against them, unless they have something, I'm talking about like prosecutable, not like the Clayton stuff. That's a start, but that hasn't stopped it. I'm talking about prosecution. Unless there's prosecution, they'll never stop. Like I said, instead, she chooses to dig her heels in, increase the level of outlandish tales, and blame everyone except the person responsible, herself. I stand firmly with the JFC movement. I stand firmly in belief in support of Clayton Echard. I stand firmly in belief in support of Greg Gillespie. I stand firmly in belief in support of Mike Mancini. If you know the facts, I have no doubt you would as well. If you do not know the documented verifiable facts, do your research. Don't let either side determine your opinion. That's actually what you should do, always. There's abundance of facts readily available for no reason. Words written in rant articles should be taken as facts. 960, yes, indeed. It's a good article. It's sad, too, that we have to get to the point where you remind people, wait a minute. I haven't even gotten to the judge thing. I was going to do that today. I'll probably do it tomorrow, where she went after Judge Matta. I wanted to see all the changes, look at everything else in there, too, just to see. And I'd finally done that. And then we got like this flood of just wild items. And again, while all of this is going on, her lawyer, the guy who should be telling her to shut up, the guy who should be like, hey, you need to stop doing this stuff. He's out here saying, again, Arizona can't do anything about this because these alleged crimes have been committed outside of Arizona. What can they really do? I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? We got into the point of there won't be any prosecution. Why? Not because of wrongdoing or the lack thereof, but because, prosecution can't happen in those areas. Anyway, I'm going to hit these super chats real quick. It's just so nuts, isn't it? Let's see. Wendy, noted. Thanks for the 2. 911 fake calls are legal. Yes, indeed. Indeed. And they should be pointed out there. Doug Sim. That freaking meme going around right now. Lord. If you haven't seen that, look it up. It's so crazy. People are having that tattooed on themselves, by the way. It's nuts. Thanks for the super sticker there. Appreciate that. Thank you. Rhea Riot, thanks for the 2 there. Her name is spelled Liar Owens. Oh man, I've been mispronouncing it. My bad. Pumpkin Farm, thanks for the 2. Stop sucking on that stogie, please. No, I got to. That's what I do with it. It's good for me. Actually, it keeps me from losing my freaking mind some days. You sat here and like all the ill, all the ugly that, it's crazy. It's craziness. So no, that's either that or rage. And I don't like to rage. It's funny though. I limit that to when I live stream. It's really funny because I'm like, that's the time when, it keeps my rage down a little bit. But thank you for the love there. Appreciate you. Sherry, thanks for the $5 super sticker too. Saw that throw through. Thank you. Rhea, what's up? Thanks for the 10. It's my husband Mark's birthday on Wednesday. Oh man, that's amazing. Cool, Mark. Happy pre-birthday. So everybody give him birthday love. Wednesday. And props to you. It's a big birthday. He's going to be really old. He won't be home. He's off to Germany for 4 days. So we're having his party without him. Well, he's still there. Spirit and love to him, man. I appreciate you too. Quite a bit, I appreciate you enough that I have adopted anytime I see a name come up, it's Rhea Raya. So it's awesome. Laura Owens, thanks for 5. Iceland is great. Dress warm in case you get locked out. Oh no. Careful with the Iceland, right? In Washington, thanks for the 5 there. She's a pathological liar. It will never stop. And shame on her family for having to destroy innocent people instead of getting her the help she needs. Yes, I'm going to say when I saw channels getting struck and I noticed that she was actually part of the striking, that really says quite a bit. I mean, her mother is there with knowledge of, with access. She has access to any court documentation or anything else. But apparently, it's everyone else. It's everyone else. Laura Owens, thanks 5. Didn't Mummy do a great job of writing that napkin note? She's terrific. Indeed. That's funny. And Laura Owens, thanks for 5. Hashtag Laura Owens. Come at me, psycho. Apparently, if you hashtag it, she's paying attention. So maybe I do need to hashtag things. Hashtag Laura Owens from now on. I have been talking about, like I said, I have been talking about this. There's a way to get eyes on it. The way you get eyes on it is you point out, first of all, what they're doing. And then you clarify the case. Because oftentimes if people don't know the case, they won't read further. So what you do in addressing this stuff, like this is my method more. Like I tag in Medium. Hey, Medium, why do you hate male victims so much? You protect a false accuser targeting men, even after she was exposed in court, and remove rebuttal articles calling this out. Then clarify after that, hey, this is what it's about. So, yeah. But I need to add in hashtag Laura Owens too. Summarize. What's up, Summarize? Thank you. $50 super chat. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'm very happy to know you, Tug. Since 2020, Tug has educated me on standing up for due process. I want you to know how important you are to me. Thank you. Appreciate that. I pray for you and your loved ones. I've survived 4 pregnancies. My God, I said that. I'm so dumb some days. 4 surgeries in the past year. I'm here for you in due process. I can't believe I said that. Thank you. I hope you're safe. One second. I had a child raider asking me when I'm going to be finished, so I had to.
Yeah, Audie's being crazy.
Well, she wants you to play.
No, she
But for real, I hope you're doing okay. 4 surgeries there. I hope hope everything's going good with you. I appreciate the kind words too, and I appreciate all of you all too. You know, if you agree or disagree on points, we've managed to go in, and we managed to look at some cases that really needed eyes on them, in my opinion. So thanks to you all. Kate, thanks for the 5 there. Appreciate you, Tug. Hey, love back at you. Appreciate you. Laura Owens, thanks for the 5 there. 80% of my social media friends are 60 years old or older. All mummy and daddy. So pathetic. Probably. Mazda, thanks for the 17 ones there. So Tug, just saying hi, using up my milestone. Well, I appreciate y'all. Like I said, I think this is an important topic. The next thing I want, it depends on what she does, but I really do want to, and I'm not going to do it tonight because there were just so many of these, but I've really wanted to hit this one too. So that will probably be next, depending on what happens. I mean, everything keeps happening. It's so crazy. But I thought like that by itself is an entire stream worth of, again, attacking a judge. There's a lot to pull into that and to talk about. But this just stream of crazy came up before that. So anyway, I am going to call it now. I'm finding a song for leaving. And yeah, I'll see you. I'm going to end here. Thank y'all. Have a great one. Watch House of the Dragon, episode 2, season 2. It's up tonight. We'll talk about it later.
Passion beats in my wind on your boulevard. Watching the pills, very Lord of Flesh, trying to act hard. Talk trash like you want to step to me. A player, baby, you ain't even an NPC. It's that umbrella guy, dropping all the bass, sold in the slug, saying you can keep this epic pace. Thinking you can trade rounds and make a stand. You fuck me, you clown, eating my verbal backhand. It's that umbrella guy, coming back for more. Dust off the platinum grill and even the score. Yeah, I'm sitting here again, still wrecking liars. With my bass-driven verbal force amplified. You talk the bigger game until you got caught. Then you slink away knowing that you're bought. Just a parasite caught in my epic fall. Pretending you were a real man just a second ago. Why you wanna pretend? Acting like a player when you're just a faux backbone. Step into this real mic slayer. Pretending that you represent free speech when bankrupt morality is all